Hey now, it's Brace for Impact, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm going solo on that ass, but it's still the same. We're talking TNA wrestling. This week we're doing a live Sacrifice reaction show. It's early on a Saturday morning. Here it's 6 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. I got my swig of coffee for the working man. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Not a ton of news to talk about, other than what happened on the show on Sacrifice. I guess let's go ahead and get the negative out of the way. This was another show on Impact Plus, TNA Plus, what Ultimate Insiders, whatever you want to call it, that was marred by technical issues. And when they went away in the fourth quarter of last year, I thought that part of what they were doing was this like production upgrade to prevent some of these issues. But we have not seen a production upgrade. The production looks the same, other than like they added a tunnel, and I think they added like a new camera. And so, they went away in the fourth quarter of last year. I don't really think they upgraded the production at all, honestly. And we saw that last night when during the Macklin and Nemeth match, which was tremendous, by the way. It was probably match of the night for me. When during that match, the stream was kind of going in and out during the match, and all of a sudden, like, you would lose it, and like there was this sign on the screen that said technical difficulties, please stand by, or will please stay tuned, whatever it was. It sucked because that match was awesome. And I think on TNA Plus, they have it on the YouTube. So I subscribed to the YouTube yesterday because my buddy and I were I was using his TNA Plus account, and for No Surrender, and I went on live and it kicked him off, and then he would go back and it kicked me off. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. So for this show specifically, I signed up for the YouTube. That way I could watch it, because I had some time at work, and I can kind of put it up on my tablet, on my iPad at work, and like let it go in the background, and check it out there. But so it was just going in and out, and I was like, what the hell? And I thought this era of TNA was over. I thought that they were upgrading the production, and then plus their streaming service, like TNA Plus, is being hosted by Endeavor, which I thought would also help prevent some of these issues, because sometimes it can be a service issue, meaning with AEW last month, or with their pay-per-view AEW Revolution on BR Live, it kept crashing, and a lot of people were complaining, and so a lot of people they made it available in the United States on Fight. So a lot of people that already paid for BR Live had to go then pay for Fight, because Fight's stream was not crashing, and the BR Live one was, and so they ended up paying for it twice, hoping to get a refund from BR Live, right? So I don't know if the Fight TV stream crashed, or if it was just the TNA Plus and the Ultimate Insiders. I don't know how that worked. I don't know what the cause was. I don't know if it was just the bad internet where they were at St. Clair College in Windsor. They have ran there several times before, so I don't know. I don't think it would be an issue with the facility. But whatever it was a pretty big problem. Thankfully for them, it was just a TNA Plus special, and it was airing during SmackDown. I doubt it got that many views. I know when I was watching the pre-show, I think there was like a little over 1,000 people watching live. So, and I don't know how many of those were stuck with it and went to the actual, at least on YouTube. I don't know how many of those stuck with it and went to the actual main card. I don't know, but because I just don't know how many people are actually subscribers. I wouldn't think it would be that many, at least enough to warrant having those issues. I do remember, like, when the streaming got back to normal, whenever it was looking good, it kind of seemed like it was after a lot of people had kind of given up on the stream after the second match. So maybe that was the case. So maybe there's just too many people. I don't know. Who knows? But whatever it is, they've been having, and BQ pointed this out on Twitter. This is not a new issue. this has been going on since they started the service. Like, it's, Joel Pearl from Fightful has kind of always had like a running joke, death taxes and audio issues on a TNA Plus event. But this time it was not only audio, like the audio issues were pretty bad on the pre-show. Um, it sounded like, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywald at times were talking into a tin can, or they were, they were hosting it from their bathroom with like the echo. So like the audio issues started early, and then all of a sudden we get to the main card, and then the feed just keeps cutting out, and it's just so frustrating, because you want to take this company serious and you want them to do well, and you give them grace, you give them a lot of leeway, and you hope that they got their stuff figured out, and then they don't when it comes to their what I would say was their most loaded TNA Plus card. It was not their best TNA Plus event. They had some really good matches on the show, don't get me wrong, but there was like one match in particular was quite disappointing, I thought, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, there was audio and video issues galore on this show, at least within the first two matches, and then it turned out all right the rest of the show. There was no real issues after that the rest of the show. Let's see. According to PW Insider, the show was sold out, but Impact TNA had announced that earlier in the day. The outlet also reported that Scott D'Amore, who lives nearby, was not in attendance. But there were, so this is strange to me. So there were some fans that brought some pro Scott D'Amore signs, and there were TNA execs in the crowd ripping those signs away from them, and telling them that if they didn't give up their signs, then they would be kicked out. That is not cool. That is so lame. It's not like they're like holding signs saying anything sexist, racist, homophobic. You know what I mean? They're Scott D'Amore supporters. Why would you? It's such bush league stuff to take the signs away that say "Go Scott," Scott D'Amore, or "We want Scott." Like, that's his hometown. Let the fans like support their guy. I know people were disappointed that some people in the audience chanted, "We want Scott." That was you guys on Twitter a couple weeks ago. It really was. That was, where are they getting that from? They're getting it from the talent who came out in full force supporting the guy. The talent writing that letter and, leaking it to Fightful and giving everybody an opportunity to see it. That was created by the talent and obviously by the company themselves for firing the guy when he had a ton of support. Let people have their feelings, right? That's his town. And TNA honestly is lucky that they actually did sell out without him, and I think they should be thankful. I think they owe it to Windsor to kind of be nice to them and stop threatening to kick their people out. And because they're holding up signs that say "We want Scott." Now, if it said "Go fuck yourself, Anthem," well, okay, that's the sign you take, right? You don't want that on your TV. But "We want Scott," come on, that's so lame. That's bush league. You guys got to be better than that. Well, it's a very insecure way to handle your company. Very insecure. I couldn't imagine it. Now, if at a WWE show there were some people that said "We want Vince," that's different. Vince is a sex trafficker and a rapist. That's different. Scott didn't do anything wrong, right? They fired the guy. Maybe and we haven't figured out all the details. Maybe he was running the company incompetently. That is possible. But everybody loved that guy, and you're in his hometown, in a town that he promoted and successfully in that company for like that's probably Windsor's probably the best town for TNA. Like, since I've been watching the promotion when Scott took over, it has been consistently their best town as far as like attendance and like a lively audience. It's consistently very good, and that's because of him. And then you guys come in there and then you're telling people that they can't be upset that their guy got fired. I think TNA is wrong. And it's very just kind of backwards, insecure thinking. That was super disappointing to hear that they had done that. PW Insider also noted that Access TV going to undergo a name change, possibly by the end of this month. That's kind of soon. Honestly, I didn't. I knew we all kind of heard that it was coming, but for it to happen like this soon, that's pretty weird. But look, they just hired a new president of Access. This Andy Shuan guy. He's from Revolt Media, and he's an MTV guy. Hold on, swig of coffee for the working man. And so I could see them trying to, rebrand under this guy's kind of new vision. And I don't think they own the rights to the name Access, because Access is a separate company that's, like that's a ticket broker. So they must have had some type of deal to be able to use that branding, and maybe that branding is just running out. But I think we all expect it to be called Anthem TV, and I think I like that name. That's a good name. That's a cool name for a channel. So especially if they're obviously they're going to keep the music branding, because the president they just hired is a music television guy, MTV, VH1, Revolt. I just hope that they are going to be bringing in some more contemporary programming and some like new and unique programming, instead of rehashing Sammy Hagar's show and the Partridge Family. And of course, 97-year-old Dan Rather, interviewing rock stars from the 70s, which is kind of like, that's death television if you ever want to sell ads. it's like if you want to grow your cable company or your cable channel, that's not going to do it. There is an audience for it, but that audience is very small and they're dying every day. So that's a geezer audience. And if you're a TNA fan, you want the Anthem rebrand or the Access rebrand to be to something that's like more contemporary and cool, Now I happen to be a big fan of classic rock. I really am. Like, that's kind of what I grew up on. That's my dad's era, and I love that music. But a lot of the songs still hold up, but you're not really gonna gain any new viewers by kind of rehashing all that stuff. People like to move forward and like new stuff, So go younger, go hipper, and I'm not saying like super young, like don't go like, you don't need like TikTokers and and stuff like that on your TV, but you probably something from like the 90s and like the upwards of the 2000s, 2010, and then of course any kind of modern music that's out there, kind of play some of that stuff and do more modern concerts. I was talking to my friend Baby Huey, 1077 The Bone out of San Francisco, and we were chatting, and we like, I like Matt Pinfield. I grew up on Matt Pinfield. I think he's great. And I learned a lot of music from his shows on MTV when I was a kid. I think he's still a resource that you guys can use, that Anthem can use. And so we were talking like we actually missed the times whenever they would go around to all the different rock festivals, right? And doing interviews with bands at the festivals, like especially every summer, like that's festival season. That's awesome. And then actually airing some of those festivals. It doesn't have to be live, but like you get the rights to the video, and then you just air them on Access or on Anthem TV, whatever they're going to call it. I think that would be awesome. They should do stuff like that. So a name cannot be blank. Yeah, we're live, pal. You and I and only a couple of people are awake right now. I'm wanting to talk Sacrifice. So let's go ahead and get into the show. I thought overall this was a really good show. There was one match in particular that I felt like was very disappointing to me, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But on the pre-show, we had Crazy Steve defeating Joe Hendry to retain. I came in about halfway through this match. AJ Francis kind of helped Crazy Steve there a little bit, and now AJ Francis and Joe Hendry are going to be wrestling on TNA Impact. I had an idea, and you guys might get mad at this idea. Some of you can be like, no, Mike, please don't put that out there. But I think we got to put it out there. Crazy Steve is a member of Decay, and Decay's biggest feud, when they were at their peak, when Crazy Steve was tagging with Abyss, and they had, obviously Rosemary was in the group. Their greatest rival was the Hardy Brothers. the Hardy Boys. And one Hardy in particular is becoming a free agent soon. I could see them bringing in Matt to do a feud with Crazy Steve over the digital media title in like a broken universe type of thing. I could see them doing that. And when he won, he kept the belt over Hendry because I was like, at this point, like, what? Why are we, why are we keeping it on a Crazy Steve like Joe Hendry and AJ Francis? Like, in my opinion, like they're like digital media guys or like social media type of dudes. They love doing that stuff. And Joe Hendry has like his own show on TNA Plus, and AJ Francis kind of like he's basically like he's a wrestling social media influencer. So I was like, oh, okay, that's where you probably should just put the belt on Francis and have him feud with Hendry. But the fact that Steve retained over here, I'm like, maybe they're gonna keep it on Steve and hope that they get some dates on Matt Hardy to be able to do a Crazy Steve Matt Hardy broken universe type feud. I could see them wanting to do that. I talked about it. Oh yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube and you are a fan of this, go to patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. I actually did an episode yesterday, only on the Patreon. I didn't even record it for video. It's a Patreon exclusive where I actually broke down all the latest free agents that are available, and I did a recap of TNA Impact from last night, the go home episode of Sacrifice. So go ahead and check that out. But yeah, I could see Matt Hardy coming in and challenging Crazy Steve. I could see it. I think that TNA right now is like heavy on nostalgia, and they would love to bring in. And look, let's face facts. Matt Hardy can't go anymore. He's got like no knees, no hips. he's hobbling around. But the fact is that Broken Matt character was hugely popular in TNA and kind of carried the company for like a good 1 year period. Everything they did was, and they have not ever reached the heights that they did when they had Matt Hardy in the company. They have not gotten back there since. So they've only gotten smaller since then. So I could see them wanting to give him a shot, bring him back in, and redoing that broken universe stuff, rehashing it, and doing that with Crazy Steve and the digital media title. And I think if they were going to do it, that'd be the perfect title to fight over, because the title means dick, right? And they could do a lot of the stuff. They can do it on YouTube, and they can do it on TNA Plus, and they can do it on Twitter and all that stuff. I could just see them doing it. Next, we got a Speedball Mountain. They defeated the Rascals. I thought this match was very good. I'm not a fan of the Speedball Mountain name, and I don't know if they can ever do anything with Speedball Mountain as far as pushing them, but I did find this to be a very good match. And I was surprised that they beat the Rascals again, because they just beat the Rascals, I think, in December. So, but it was a pretty damn good match, and I wonder where they go next with it. We do have heel tag team champions now, so maybe Speedball Mountain would be the next contenders to the system, but we'll see. I don't know where they're going with it, or maybe they're just going to keep feuding with the Rascals for a while, because I don't know if they even have a plan for this for any of these guys. So they just kind of been doing some stuff on the undercard. All right, now we get to the main card. Nick Nemeth defeats Steve Macklin, and this match was fucking awesome, glitches and all. And I did get wind that on TNA Plus they have actually uploaded the entire event, and it's glitch free. So it was definitely an issue with the stream, because they were able to record it without the glitches, and they have uploaded the entire event without any of the glitches. And you need to see this match glitch free. And in fact, I'm going to go back and rewatch this match, because I thought it was awesome with the glitches. And you could tell that the crowd was super into it. And these guys just like, this is the first time where I was like, okay, Nick Nemeth has it. I think Nick Nemeth has what it takes to kind of be a guy here. And that was what I wanted to see. I was like, can he hang with Macklin? Not the other way around. Because Nemeth has been doing, 7-minute, matches on main event, for a while. It's been a long time since we've seen Nemeth in like a prolonged match to where we thought he could actually go. It's been forever. Like, we know he's a great athlete, right? We know that he at one point was a top star in WWE. That was a long time ago. It's like, hey, does this guy still have what it takes? And because Macklin has been out there grinding, and he's had some really damn good matches here in TNA. And I was curious, like, because I knew Macklin would kind of would keep the pace up, and it would be just a super hard hitting, like exciting, and very well put together match. And I was like, could Nemeth go? And he proved to me he can go. He hung with Macklin. Macklin pushed him to his limits for real. Like you could tell. And I thought the match was fantastic. It was my match of the night. I know some people would probably have the trios match or maybe even the tag title match, and I thought those were very good too. But this was my match of the night. I don't think they ever reached the heights that they had in this match. It was just unfortunate that they had all the technical issues. There was one spot in particular where Macklin is going for God, what does he call that move out of the corner? I can't remember where he's got him tied to the tree of woe, and God, got him in the crosshairs. That move, where he goes to do his shoulder tackle in the corner, and Nemeth moved out of the way, like he lifted up, and then Macklin just went through the ropes in the corner, and then just like all the way to the outside, and then found himself underneath the ring announcer's table. I thought that was so badass. And the way they shot it was very good too. It was just great. Speaking of the way they're shooting the show, by the way, I have to talk about this. They had like 4 different cameras, and each of them were color corrected to a different color. It's like there was one camera that was like kind of over the ring, and it was very blurry, and it had like this yellow filter on it. Then there were 2 other cameras that had like more clear filters, and then the hard cam was a different color too. I was just like, what are you guys doing? Like, who's running this fucking Mickey Mouse operation? They like, why are the cameras all different colors? It's like you're watching a different show each time they do a camera cut, and they did a lot of camera cuts. They like, it's so embarrassing. But this match was like, Nemeth and Macklin was fucking great. The next match, System, they defeated Ace and Bay, the ABC, to win the TNA Tag Team titles. I called this. I knew this was coming because they're going to give the System a big push. And, this was the first time where I was like, damn, the System's really good. Like, this was the best match I've seen from Myers and Eddie Edwards. And that might be because the ABC rules. But I thought these 2 teams worked really well together. And this was a super exciting match. They hit just like every move in their arsenal. And then there was one moment where, Ace Austin was doing his handstand on the outside, where he like, he does the kick and then he does the handstand on the ring apron, and it's like all cute and nice and exciting, and he's young and happy. And then here comes salty old Brian Myers with a spear. I loved it. That was awesome. Like, spear that little shit. Like, we see him do that fucking move every match, and every time everybody falls for it. And finally, while he's doing his dumb handstand, Myers speared him. Like, I thought that was great. And the fact that nobody's done it before, I think it was even better. Like, if somebody has done it, I just don't remember it, because that caught me off guard. I was so happy that he did that. But yeah, the System picks up the victory there. Really, really good match. New tag team title, new tag team champions. And we'll see where they go next. Right now, the tag division is pretty stacked, so I like what they're doing. The women's tag division, not stacked. In fact, it's the opposite of stacked. Spitfire, Danny Luna and Jody Threat defeated MK Ultra in about 3 minutes. Oh, swig of coffee. And adding to that, MK Ultra actually attacked Spitfire before the bell and had them brawling around the ring, got the upper hand, got the advantage. So like going into the match, like they had already cheated and Spitfire was at the disadvantage. And then a couple of minutes later, I can't remember who pinned her, but Killer Kelly gets pinned. I was like, what? So I don't know if Kelly, if her contract is run out, or if I don't know if she's going to be in the company anymore, or maybe she's hurt because she didn't really do anything in the match. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. After the match, Masha Slamovich pushed Killer Kelly and walked away from her. So it looks like that one of the 3 tag teams in this division are breaking up. So what, this division's a joke. They should just get rid of it. Like, I know that they just have us and get more women on the show, but just make their singles division just more competitive, right? Don't just force it, and that's what they're doing. They're just forcing it. They don't have look. You can't have a tag team division with now we're down to two again. They had three, now we're down to two. Just stop it. You're not fooling anybody, guys. We know what you're doing. So I can't really call it a good match because it just never really got going. It just ended so abruptly. I'm like, what? I don't know if that was for the shock factor or if Killer Kelly's just done with the company, or if she's just hurt and going away for a while. But clearly they're breaking up MK Ultra, and that was one of the best acts in the company. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what's happened. These the spoilers when they come out tonight. I'm going to be interested to see how they go. See if Killer Kelly ends up losing again tonight, or if she even wrestles. So, so the glitches in the show were still going at this point, by the way. And they weren't as bad as they were in the Nemeth Macklin match, but throughout the system defeating ABC, they were still going. And then, of course, Spitfire defeating MK Ultra, they were still going, not as prevalent. And then, unfortunately, I couldn't believe this. They fixed the stream during the fucking PCO versus Con match. I was like, of all the matches, like honestly, they could have just shut down the whole stream. That would have probably made the show better. Like I was like, okay, great, yeah, we don't like I don't have to watch this and talk about it. But instead, the stream was perfect during this match. I'm like, what the hell? Like it's like of all the matches that they could have that the stream could have been perfect for, it had to be PCO versus Con. And what did this match was not good. It's like I know what they were going for, like these two monsters, and very old school type of stuff, and the crowd was into it at times, but it just wasn't good. And poor PCOs, he's moved like he can do the monster versus monster stuff, and it's usually pretty cool as long as the monster that he's working with is like young and mobile and can do a lot of stuff. But instead, you got like Khan, who is like got like zero athleticism. He's just walking around screaming and punching, and like doing like doing like clotheslines and punches and kicks, and it's like they were hitting each other with cookie sheets. I'm like, this is so bad. It just was not good. At one point, like Khan kind of slams him on the stage, and the whole appeal to PCO right now is like the character is awesome, and I love the PCO character. He's Frankenstein, but he just kind of like hurts himself and does crazy shit. But PCO ended up getting the victory, and then hopefully that spells the end of this feud, because it was seeing Khan get a push when he's got no charisma whatsoever was pretty bad. He's got no charisma, he's got no athleticism. There's just not much to the guy. The guy just can't go. PCO, he's just full of charisma. So it's like you forgive the fact that he gets lost in matches at times, and he's like in his late 50s now, and so he just kind of has to do some crazy shit, and then like this, but that works. Like that character works. Khan, he just coming out dressed like a truck driver, wearing his flannel, dressed like a truck driver that that hates Democrats, coming to the ring with a stupid haircut. And he just kind of like has angry face, and it's like, dude, nobody cares. Like nobody's buying it. So yeah, this match sucked. I wasn't disappointed in the match because I knew it was going to be, and some people had fun watching. That's fine. You can have fun watching. I was just like, this is just two bad wrestlers having a bad match, right? Just hitting each other with stuff. Congratulations, guys. But next we go to Hammerstone. He defeated Josh Alexander. I would say during like the middle part of this match, it seemed like they were off a little bit. Like the beginning, I thought started off hot. It was a very heated match, and then like I don't know if it was the way I think they set it up this way. I think this is what they were going for. They just had a very slow paced match, and I felt the same way in the main event. Like the match that they had at the Palms at Hard to Kill was a very heated. They kept the pace up. you know, obviously the guys there, they were trying to have match of the night. Here they just weren't trying to do that. Like, I don't know if something happened or what, but so like the whole middle part of the match was just kind of like a lot of selling and heat and stuff like that. But then they picked it up like in like the last 5 minutes, and they were really going, and it was very good. Like by the end of the match, this was a very good match. And I would give this match a thumbs up. I did really like it. So I just felt like the one Hard to Kill was much better. But right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish Hammerstone as a character, because he's now signed to the company. And so at Hard to Kill, they weren't trying to establish anything. They were just trying to have a very good match, and they accomplished that. Here, they're trying to establish Hammerstone as a heel, and that was the story of the match. And by the end of it, Hammerstone realizes he can't beat Josh. He accidentally takes out the referee, and then Josh gets the ankle lock on him, and he taps out. Knowing that the referee is down, he taps out, making Josh, unhook the ankle lock. And then he gives Josh the big low blow and the nightmare pendulum, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. And now we have established a new heel in the company. I think we need to take it a step. And by the way, he took Josh's headgear as a trophy. And that was an idea from John Muse from like 2 years ago, because we were prepping this fantasy booking show that we were going to do, and he had an idea for. I pitched an idea to him for Matt Cardona. This is 2 years ago, for Matt Cardona to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory, and that he would cash in the next night on Josh Alexander. And he said, here's how I would do it. And he pitched, like he redid the story, because I'm just like an idea guy. He's a detail guy. And in that, he said Matt Cardona has to, take the headgear as his trophy and do this whole thing. And I was like, oh wow, that's actually really awesome. So I'm glad to see that has happened, because we're like, that Josh's headgear is very like synonymous with his character, and I'm surprised that nobody has taken it as a trophy. And so now we're establishing this new heel who has this trophy from Josh Alexander. He took his headgear. I really like that touch. I love that little small detail, very intricate stuff. I think we need to go a step further in Hammerstone. Like I was saying, I think he needs to join the system, because I think there's a money match with Hammerstone and Moose down the road. I think you just put those guys in a poster, and I think that people will want to show up to the match. So I think that they could do the Triple H Batista, the Sting and Flair kind of storyline with Hammerstone and Moose, and one of them probably Hammerstone turning babyface eventually, on Moose to challenge for the title. Should Moose keep the title for a prolonged period? And I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But I really would like to see Hammerstone entrenched with the system, and I think they need the fourth guy. I think they need the extra body and like the big heavy body in there. I think he would work well with those guys. And next we go to probably I think my second favorite match of the night. And if I rewatch the System versus ABC without all the glitches, then maybe that one takes number 2. But I really enjoyed this match. X Division champion Mustafa Ali, Grizzly Young Vets, defeating a Time Machine. And of course, Chris Sabin hits Alex Shelley with a boot and costing his team the victory. Alex Shelley gets pinned. Grizzly Young Vets, they hit their Grit Your Teeth, and then Mustafa Ali hit the 450 splash onto Shelley and getting the victory. Shelley is absolutely 100% turning heel. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I thought this match was incredible, and I hope to see the Grizzly Young Vets and Mustafa Ali kind of sticking around as like a little bit of a faction. And then I really like the touch of the Secret Service, and I hope that they explore that detail of Mustafa Ali's character a little bit more. I hope they do. I think that there's a lot that they could do with that. Next, we go to the Knockouts champion, Jordan Grace, defeating Xia Brookside and Tasha Steelz in a 3-way. The beginning of this match, I was like, this match is not that good. I was like, because Jordan Grace is just like far and away so much better than both of them. And it felt like at times to me that they just did not belong in the same ring with her. She is just head and shoulders above the rest of the people in this division. I think the only person that works there that could probably hang with her is Masha, honestly. Which is probably why we saw MK Ultra break up, because I think, Masha is they're gonna have to do great. They have to go back to Grace and Masha, because nobody else can hang with Jordan. Like, she's just so much better than everybody. They have like this is the weakest I've seen this division in a long time. It really is. Losing Naomi and losing Deonna Purrazzo at the same time was tough for this division. And now I don't know what's going on with Killer Kelly, but or Masha. I don't know if maybe both of them gone. I don't know, but like having Xia Brookside and Tasha Steelz in this match. Xia Brookside's won exactly one match in this company, and she's in the semi-main event. And Tasha Steelz lately this year, I think, she hasn't exactly been on a roll. And the matches between Brookside and Steelz, it's not like they were like banger matches to where we were like, oh hell, we need to put these two in the title match. It's like, no, it's like, this is just the whole division. This is just who we got. So we got to put them in the match, because like Jordan's got no opponents. And that's tough. And it was pretty sad, because it was like International Women's Day, and all the women in the company took a picture before the match, and like three of them were like, like two of them were referees, and Jade Chung's the announcer, and like the two backstage, like Sam Laterna and Gia Miller. So, and then they got Gail Kim was in the picture, and then there was like maybe 8 wrestlers, and like that's it. Like most of the people like a good portion of the people in that picture aren't wrestlers. so it's like, man, you guys gotta sign some people, bring in some more talent. Like, I know there's women talent out there. Steph DeLander is a free agent, and I bet you guys could get her. I don't think that she's holding out for a ton of money. She's available, and she's pretty good. And I think that her touring around with Matt Cardona has improved that part of her, like the character part of her game, to where she goes around and like people want to see her on the indies now. And you guys could get her. And then unfortunately we got crappy ass Shaza McKenzie out there advocating for a spot. And then unfortunately, like members of Fightful, like they have befriended her. So now they're advocating for her, but she sucks. Don't sign people that suck. Like, you have enough of those already. You don't need people that suck. Stay away from Shaza. Stay away from the stupid cat lady from GCW. Stay away from them. But I think Steph DeLander is like a person that you should go for. And of course Camille, but who knows what's happening with her. I'm an advocate for her to come into TNA. Like, TNA, out of all the companies right now, needs her the most, because this division is not looking good. We're going to have fucking Dana Brooke probably in a co-main event spot against Jordan Grace. And people are going to see that there are levels to this game during that match. And that Jordan Grace is about 10 levels above Dana Brooke, Ash by Elegance, which I dig the character, by the way. I think that's a fun character. But that is like not a character that's like world title match character. Like, that's a fun comedic, like undercard character, not in there with one of the best in the world, Jordan Grace. So, and then now we go to the main event. And this was a big disappointment to me. It really was. Because these guys can go, and I've seen them both go, and for some reason they did not. They just never got out of first gear. In fact, they're towards the end. They started hitting some big moves, but I think they had lost me by the end of it. And then of course they did the screw job finish with Frankie, interfering at the end and costing Young the match. I think they didn't really pick up the match until, the system came down and Eric Young did the dive to the outside, and he comes back and he hits the Canadian Destroyer off the middle rope, kind of like the what is Adam called, the Tequila Sunrise, Panama Sunrise is what they call it. So, but the whole match was just like Eric Young selling, and a lot of chin lock spots, abdominal stretch spot for like, a minute and a half, a bear hug, and then Moose going around the ringside and trying to get heat from the fans, like a lot of stalling. It was just very much like a 87 WWF kind of like heel match. with just a lot, stalling and rest spots and chin lock spots and bear hugs. And like they had the abdominal stretch, and then he's like digging into the ribs, and that didn't even I think Moose was like working on the ribs. And I didn't even factor into the finish. It's like the whole story of the match is Moose like working on the ribs, and like it just didn't matter. Um, I expected much better out of these guys. It's kind of like they came in and it's like, hey, look, we want to do as slow as match possible because we know that there's going to be a fuck finish at the end because Frankie's interfering anyway. And they basically did almost nothing in this match. They hit the superplex at one point and that got a pop. And of course, the Canadian Destroyer, a couple pile drivers, But yeah, they did not do much. I was disappointed in this match because I was like, Eric Young can really fucking go. And you put him in a main event. I was like, the match is probably going to be gold. And Moose has a lot of respect for Eric Young. So I was like, okay, they're probably going to have this really good match. And they just didn't. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what everybody else has to say about it because I just did not think this match was that good. And I'm like a Moose truther. I'm a Moose defender. But they did not bring it. They took the night off, in my opinion. And that is pretty damn disappointing. Maybe they thought the stream was out because they did fucking nothing. and Frankie cost Eric Young the match. So we're going to keep going with the Frankie Eric Young. I really thought going into it that they would probably switch the title here because because Josh lost to Hammerstone early in the night. But they did not. They're not worried about killing this down. I think they sold out again for night 2. And apparently they're already planning on coming back. So I'm curious to see what they do going forward because, in May, they're going to Albany for Under Siege, and then they got the tapings afterwards, but we still have the rumored Full Sail move lingering out there. I wonder if they do some TV tapings later in May because they're going to Under Siege like 2 weeks after Rebellion. So they're doing Rebellion in like late April, and then they're doing the TV taping afterwards, which would be 2 weeks, and then immediately they're going bang right at the beginning of May. They're doing Under Siege, followed by another 2-week taping, and then they should have a month taping after that. I wonder if that month-long taping is going to be in Full Sail. Curious about that. And then they'll probably do St. Clair College like later in the year for another Impact Plus special. I doubt they go back there for Slammiversary, considering they were threatening to kick people out that supported Scott D'Amore. But all right, guys, I do appreciate everybody checking out my Sacrifice reaction show. Give us a big thumbs up, throw down a comment, and if you like more of this content, head to patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. I have an exclusive episode that I just dropped yesterday, another Brace for Impact, just talking about Mike Santana, Matt Hardy, Kevin Kelly, their free agency, and how it could relate to TNA. And then, of course, a full rundown of TNA Impact. And I'll be back again next Saturday with another edition of Brace for Impact, recapping all the news and all the reports coming out about TNA. We won't get too much into the spoilers. We don't do too much of the spoilers, but if something significant happens, we'll talk about it. But we'll do a full recap of Impact next week. So bang it right here on patreon.com/the Mike and JD show, the Mike and JD show YouTube. Tell your friends about us. Spread the show, spread the love, and thanks for all your support. And until next time, mahalo.